Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a look at the Pope, specifically his influence, which is actually pretty surprising in the modern world.
Mhm.
And whether you're Catholic or not, you kind of feel his impact, right?
Absolutely. It's quite something. We've pulled together some sources looking
Mm.
at, the history, the job itself, some contributions, and really where the papacy stands globally now.
Right. So, our mission basically is to figure out why the Pope is such a significant global player, even if you're outside the church.
Exactly. And it's fascinating how this role, so rooted in one faith, has become, well, a reference point for so many different people on so many different issues.
Okay, let's dive in. The basics first.
Mhm.
What does the Pope actually do within the Catholic Church? What are their core responsibilities?
Well, fundamentally, he leads the global Catholic community. That means spiritual guidance, first and foremost,
Okay.
but also overseeing things like liturgy, the sacraments,
Hmm.
interpreting doctrine, that's a big one, and addressing moral questions. Plus, he appoints bishops and cardinals, shaping the church's leadership.
And the idea that one person has all this authority, where does that originate, theologically speaking?
That comes down to apostolic succession. The belief is that the Pope is the successor of St. Peter, who Catholics see as the first bishop of Rome, appointed by Jesus himself.
Right.
So that lineage, tracing back to Jesus, is seen as the foundation of papal authority.
Okay, deep historical roots there. Now, something you hear about is papal infallibility. Sounds powerful.
It does, but it's actually very specific, really narrow, in fact.
Oh, so?
It only applies when the Pope is officially defining a doctrine concerning faith or morals for the entire church, or doing so definitively with bishops worldwide.
So not just any statement he makes.
Exactly. It's a very particular set of circumstances, and the belief is the Holy Spirit guides him from error in those specific moments.
Got it. Okay, let's zoom out a bit. How did we get from, the early church to this global figure we see today? It must have been quite a journey.
Oh, it's a huge story. It started gradually, with the Bishop of Rome gaining prominence over centuries. Then a big shift happened after the Western Roman Empire collapsed.
How did that change things?
Well, the papacy's influence grew, sometimes even into secular political areas. Think about the Middle Ages.
Right, like crowning emperors.
Exactly. Crowning Charlemagne is a classic example. Papal power getting involved directly in secular rule.
Wow. But it wasn't all smooth sailing, I assume.
Not at all. You had major conflicts, like the investiture controversy, which actually ended up solidifying the Pope's power within the church. But then later, huge challenge to the Avignon papacy, the Western Schism,
Mhm.
periods where papal authority was really questioned.
And the Reformation, of course.
A massive challenge to religious authority, absolutely. Then much later, losing the Papal States actually shifted the focus more towards spiritual leadership. And finally, the creation of Vatican City gave the papacy its own independent territory.
A physical base for its influence.
Interesting. And bringing it to today,
Yeah.
how does someone like Pope Francis represent the continuation or maybe evolution of this?
Pope Francis is a really interesting example of that modern evolution. You see shifts like on the death penalty or nuclear weapons, though core stances like on abortion remain firm.
Mm-hmm.
But his huge emphasis on the poor, on indigenous peoples, on the environment, Laudato Si's, that really shows the papacy engaging head-on with today's global challenges.
So it sounds like the Pope wears a few different hats these days.
That's a good way to put it. Three key roles, really. First, he's the Bishop of Rome. That's his local historical connection.
Right.
Second, head of the Catholic Church globally, the supreme pastor, guiding doctrine, unity for over 1 billion people.
And third,
Sovereign of Vatican City State. It's tiny, but it gives him a unique political and diplomatic platform. He's actually the only absolute monarch left in Europe because of it.
I didn't realize that. An absolute monarch. That must give him a unique standing internationally. It definitely does. The Holy See, that's the diplomatic entity, has relations with over 180 countries.
Wow.
Yeah, and it participates in international bodies like the UN. It translates into significant soft power, influence based on moral authority, not military force.
Beyond religion and diplomacy, what about other contributions, historically?
Oh, hugely important. Think about charity, education, the arts. The church, often driven by the papacy, has a long, long history supporting schools, universities. Think of orders like the Jesuits
Right, education.
and aid for the poor, the marginalized. That's been constant. Plus, patronage of the arts has been massive throughout history.
And how is that influence felt on the world stage today? You mentioned Pope Francis's focus areas.
Exactly. His advocacy for social justice is very strong. Peace initiatives, too, calls for peace in Ukraine, the Middle East, Africa, and interfaith dialogue is huge for him.
Like the document with the Grand Imam.
Precisely, the document on human fraternity, and his visit to Iraq, reaching out. His encyclical Laudato Si on the environment had a massive impact globally, well beyond the church.